And now we bring you live our special coverage of the fifth and final presentation by South Korea's Busan, wishing to secure the World Expo 2030. Let's go live to our Jung-min at the News Center. Jung-min, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Jiyoung. It surely is a big event for millions around the world who are waiting for this news. Until this final moment, Team Korea has traveled around another circle the Earth 495 times, and its efforts don't stop until past midnight tonight. And it's now time for Busan's final pitch, which we bring you live. Now, joining me in the studio is Mr. Junseong, attorney at law. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. An, so as we heard from the previous reports, 3 candidates, Busan, Riyadh, and Rome, will be making their final appeals for their World Expo bid at the Bureau International de Expositions. It's their one last chance. How significant is this 5th and final presentation?
It's more like you're taking a final exam in school, right? Very important, right? Very significant portion of your final grade, right? So I guess that the 2 things to keep in mind. That first thing is that they should focus on their impact, message or sentence, and what they want to send a message, very clear message and directly targeted, the audience, I think. And second is that you should come up with more specific gift package. It's more like a quid pro quo situation. In international politics, basically they will ask you, the candidates say, what can you do for us if we vote for you, right? Basically, so it's basically based on many bilateral relations. So we have to come up with some specific, some ideas, more specific gift package. I think that's really mostly like carrot, more like sending some messages, very good news to them. So they have to basically saying that we have to share our good news with you.
I would say a carrot is very important. And South Korea is promoting Busan as the right choice for the 2030 World Expo. What makes the city competitive compared to 2 contenders?
Well, it's basically the catchphrase, right? The famous catchphrase is Busan is ready.
Yes.
I guess the 2 points about the readiness of Busan. As you know, that Busan is the 6th largest industrial port in the world, and it has been the international hub for global supply chain, especially like Asia. Also, plus, and Busan has been very popular venue for the many international events, such like Busan International Film Festival. So it's very popular site to visit also, and there's many things, many cultural event also many activities there. So I think that's quite attraction point there. Also, that's the things that kind of appealing to what we have, and try to focus and differentiate with other countries. For example, we see that like Saudi Arabia is like in desert, right? So there's no water, right? Basically, Busan is port. Basically, we're saying that, and Rome doesn't have doesn't have the sea. So it's kind of some comparative advantage saying that we are different, natural atmosphere, nature also, and then maybe could oppose some special message, some country bordering, seas, marine, focus on marine industry. So I think there's kind of a, comparative advantage, not only the physical location and many cultural issues, right?
And Mr. An, what will be Busan's strategies?
Very interesting point, right? I look it up. I compare with I checked the BIA official website. They talk about their themes and sub-themes, and I summarize as 3 T's actually. The all countries talking about T. For example, Korea is T is basically means technology for humanity, right? The main point about the Saudi Arabia is interesting. They talk about the tomorrow. Well, it's not the better tomorrow. It's a different tomorrow. So that I'm really happy about their many social issues, human rights issues, a lot of other issues. So they come up some. The theme is basically different tomorrow, which basically means that their sending message will be different after hosting their BIA expos. And also the interesting about Italy, they come up with some T, but also different T. They're called togetherness. I think they're more like focused on the current metropolitan area, how they reuse it, and then about the energy issues. I think they're approaching more general approach about the urban lifestyle and challenges. I think that's more like the way they're approaching it. So totally different way. About the, but my little bit point about the technology for humanity, because that I watched 3 promotional tape, for 3 candidates just before I got to the studio. I was watching it, and I see that, and other countries kind of focusing on actually technology side quite much. Like Saudi Arabia, they talk a lot of the robot dancing on the pavilion or something. But when I watch the Korean side, I think that there was too much about the Korean content issues, about the Korean drama. But we know that many people, many international people, foreigners like the Korean culture, K-pop culture is fine. But I think that this is not a cultural event. This is a business expo, right? I think that we need to come up with some specific reason why the businessman, not the kid, teenager kid in high school, is more like a businessman. Why should I vote for the Busan instead of the Saudi Arabia or the Rome, right? So I think that's come up with the final presentation, maybe they should focus on specific things that for business perspectives, I think that's emphasis should be mentioned.
And how do you feel about Busan's chances?
Tough question. Plus, it's the secret ballot, right? So we do not know actually who. So some country will say, well, we're going to vote for it, but we don't know what happened, right? Plus, my concern is a little bit the political issue. And I Googled up some news about what happened in some international news. It's very interesting about how about the U.S. position. The Korean news media really don't talk about it, but actually they endorsed for the Italy. And Japan originally endorsed for the Saudi, right? So that's things that really concern. We talk about I think for the automation, they focus on the automation, focus on the reconfirming, reestablish the alliance with traditional partners, right? U.S. and Japan, perhaps. But now we have come up with some challenge that we have to do ourselves, not helped by the big brothers, right? Have to be independent and ensuring that we live at independent sovereign state. We're doing our job by ourselves. That's, I think, quite challenge for the the automation.
Now I want to talk about Riyadh and Rome. What are appealing features of Riyadh and Rome?
It's very interesting. I was thinking about it. What was the attraction point for the other countries competing? And then for Rome, I watched the video. It's very interesting. I see a lot of Greek painting, architecture. So it's nice. I love to go somewhere. But what's the business point about the Rome side? I think that's that. Whether or not they are hosting the BIE Expo, maybe I might go even without the BIE Expo, because that's great tour place. The downside for I think the Rome is that that's too ancient in a way that is not really not reflecting current or future. But also the other side is that it's too much European. BIE is like a gentleman's club, European club. So the other country, non-European country, wouldn't really appreciate it. The European countries, monopolizing or their hosting opportunities. So I think that might concern. And then Saudi Arabia, the problem with Saudi, the good point, there's so much money, oil money. I found very interesting. They come up with some, I think the campaign they call one country, one pavilion. But I tried to look it up. What does it really mean? It because even the Rome, the commercial, they say, oh, each country have their equal, size and equal location. Well, there's no equal location, but anyway, what happened was that I think that the way they're approaching it, Saudi, but not sure for fact, but they might use their leverage to persuade some country to, if you vote for us, and then we got selected for the hosting city for next BIE Expo, we'll give you free pavilion. Because that if you see that this 2031 is not different from Daejeon Expo or the Yosu Expo, which was that the hosting country have to provide all the facilities, but this one is not the one provided by the hosting country. Each country's participant will pay for their own construction and destruction of all their facility they're using it. So there's a big cost involved. So I guess there's some of developing country concerned about the cost. Maybe it could be the big factor.
And that was like appealing feature, and more specifically, what will be their strategy, Rome and Riyadh? We know it's a secret, but
well, basically, I was saying that the way I look it up, and the BIE the Expo is different from the Olympics. and the World Cup games, because although they're comparing like 3 mega event, but because that you see the World Cup or not Olympic Games, I think besides the two world wars, I mean other times there was always the Olympic Games, but BI Expo was that there was a kind of there was downtime very often. So it's not really regular. And there was an amendment, because I think that's kind of a really traditional, it's a European club. So basically, and in the beginning, it's all European country doing everything they wanted. But now the Asian country getting, like Shanghai, get it. I think first country was the Japan, Osaka. 1970, the first, I think it's a non-European country actually host the BIE Expo. But after that, there's some cost issue, just like some Olympic Games that would say some Olympic game was not really good for economy because there was so much investment. And it's more like a sunk cost, right? You're not really getting that. And how are you going to visualize that facility you have built it before you never use it for future? So it's kind of a cost, cost benefit analysis coming in. Yeah. So that's what their strategy to come up with ideas, right?
Mr. An, we were actually waiting for the presentation to start in just a moment, but it seems like we have to wait a little bit longer. We will get back to you a little bit later. And we will be back with our live coverage of the Busan's 5th and final presentation after the break at around 10:25 Korea time.